Hello there, and welcome to Integrated Spectrum of Health Functional Medicine membership. My name is Lynn Jocelyn, and I am a physician assistant. Hello, and welcome to Integrated Spectrum of Health Functional Medicine membership. My name is Lynn Jocelyn. I'm a functional medicine physician assistant, board certified. Hello there, and welcome to Integrated Spectrum of Health Functional Medicine membership. My name is Lynn Jocelyn. I am a functional medicine trained physician assistant, board certified through the National Certification for Physician Assistants with advanced training through the Institute for Functional Medicine. And I'm also a food and spirit certified food. Hello there, and welcome to Integrated Spectrum of Health Functional Medicine membership education. My name is Lynn Jocelyn. I'm a functional medicine physician assistant, and I weave together my years of experience in conventional medicine training, my board certification as a physician assistant, my advanced training through the Institute for Functional Medicine, and my love of the practice as a certified food and spirit practitioner. So I weave all that together to support people on their journey to healing, acting as a guide, really, offering tools to help dig a bit deeper and investigate and kind of figure out the puzzle that our physiology is when we show up with significant symptoms. So today I'm excited to continue our conversation on foundational lifestyle factors. This is a topic that really is at the forefront for so much of how people heal. It's the foundational things that you do every day to support sustainable health. So we're in the process. This is the third presentation in this series. And some key points in these presentations that I want to continue to bring home. I want them to be actionable. I want you to be able to personalize this information to you and to simplify. So today we're going to have a quick review. What are those foundational lifestyle factors and where are we going with these? And then we're going to talk a quick overview. We talked last week on sleep and relaxation, as well as sleep biology. And then we're going to dive a bit deeper into sleep apnea and melatonin. Always thinking, as you're listening to this conversation, what are your 3 takeaways? They could be 3 things you've relearned that you're remembering, 3 things you want to work on, maybe 3 things that you didn't know before that you learned. And then one actionable item that you can step away and begin to use right away. So to begin, I'm going to take you through a really wonderful sleep and deep relaxation breath work. And this practice can be really used in many different ways. If you're having trouble falling asleep, if you wake in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep, if you're in the middle of your workday and you're stressed, drop into the simple deep relaxation sleep. So basically what you do is you inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, exhale through your mouth for 8. I'm going to guide you through 2 rounds, and then I'm going to let you go ahead and continue for about 3 to 4 more rounds. So when you're ready, sit comfortably and just take a minute to let your body settle. So often we're running here and there and doing this and that, and taking a minute to just actually settle, you can begin to notice the feelings in your body. Now, when you're ready, I want you to go ahead and inhale through your nose for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And continue 3 more rounds on your own. When you've completed your round of 3, just take some nice nourishing breaths in through your nose and out through your nose. And as you're coming back into your natural breath, inhaling and exhaling, before you open your eyes, just notice, do you feel any different in your body? Do you feel more settled? Do you feel more anxious? Are you just easeful and neutral? Just notice. It's not good or bad. It's just learning to notice how we're feeling and how we can change that state with simple breathwork techniques. Now, when you're ready, go ahead and we're going to bring ourselves back into the space with rubbing our hands. And bring yourself back into the space, sitting comfortable, grab something to drink, and let's do a bit of learning. So, moving right in, now what are these foundational lifestyle factors? If you've been following along each of these presentations, then you're already aware of these. So quick review. The foundational lifestyle factors are sleep and relaxation, exercise and movement, nutrition, stress, and relationships. And they happen to be the base of something we call the functional medicine matrix. Now this has some pictures in the center of this, but under these pictures is the matrix where when I'm working one-on-one with somebody, I'm able to begin to look at their body from a cellular perspective to find out where some dysfunction may be happening. But we almost always start with the foundational lifestyle factors and definitely keep those going throughout. And those are the things that, again and again, people can come back to uptick their health or support if you're going through challenging times. So these conversations, I really want to bring clarity. So as you're thinking and listening to these conversations and presentations, get clear. What is it that you need work on? What is it that you feel would support an up-leveled health and meeting your personal health goals? And a reminder of values. Values are a person's principles or standards of behavior, one's judgment of what's important in life. If your choices do not align with your values, the things that are important to you, there will be a misalignment leading to dissonance and discordance. And I believe that the body at a cellular level knows this. So as we're going through these things, it's good to check in on what are your values, and even doing some core value work can be really helpful to help kind of figure out what is driving much of your decisions. And then as you move through your health decisions and choices, you want to also make sure those are in alignment with your values. So this is just a quick visual about that. Choices, values, your health goals. That's the sweet spot in the middle where you're going to attain success at meeting your goals. So what's in it for me? I just put this slide in here because I want to always personalize this to you. I'm going to give you a lot of information and a lot of general information. You can tease out what's important for you and what will support you on your health journey. Simplify. Always simplify. You could walk away with 20 new things from this talk. I want you to choose one because overwhelm is real. We have a lot of information coming at us at all times. And so if you choose one thing and you do it really, really well, do that for 2 or 3 weeks, then you add the next. You can focus on that and choose in and really implement it in your life. So it's okay, Stan, just pick one flower and start from there. There's a lot of flowers coming at us. Sleep is that golden chain that ties health and our bodies together. Thomas Dekker. So here's just a quick, we're going to do just 2 or 3 slides of overview from last week that talks a little bit about the biology of sleep. And there are 5 stages of sleep. And within this, we cycle through all 5 stages about every 90 to 120 minutes. And the length of time you stay in each sleep changes throughout the night. So for instance, you fall asleep in that first part, that's stage 1, then light sleep, stage 2, moderate sleep is stage 3. Then we get into that deep sleep, really important for nourishment and memory. And then we get to stage 5, which is rapid eye movement, where a lot of creativity happens. Rapid eye movement is also really where we dream, and it's more of an active sleep state. And then it goes right back to stage 1. So it goes through this whole stage every 90 to 120 minutes. The neurochemical process of sleep, this is really important. So what happens with our brain chemicals to help produce sleep? So if you can see here, we have the red pathway and the green pathway. Tryptophan is something that it's an amino acid that we get from dietary sources. Tryptophan is made into something called 5-HTP, then serotonin, then melatonin. You've probably all heard of melatonin. Melatonin being a sleep aid, being something that's really important with our sleep-wake cycles. So we want this pathway to be active, tryptophan to 5-HTP to serotonin to melatonin. And in order to support that pathway, you need to make sure you have enough iron, magnesium, vitamin B6, and folic acid. These are what we call the cofactors that makes this reaction happen. So if you're low on magnesium, you may not be able to go from tryptophan to 5-HTP, and you may be pushed over to this red pathway. So the red pathway goes from tryptophan to kynurenine and then to quinolate. Quinolate, is more inflammatory. And it's also been shown to affect and break down DNA processes. So this whole red pathway is much more inflammatory. Well, what causes tryptophan to go down that way? Inflammatory markers. So if you're somebody living with chronic inflammation in your body, stress, that stimulates the cortisol, and steroids. Steroids would be a medication that you may need to be on for certain conditions. And so there's more in this red circle, but these are some common ones. We go over to the green side, we start to see some things overlap. Magnesium is in both of those processes. The vitamin B6, zinc. So getting high quality food, making sure that your gut can absorb that high quality food and supplementing when necessary may be a way, or is a way, to support making more natural melatonin so that you're able to sleep better. What are the benefits of sleep? Just think about it yourself. Think of a night you didn't sleep well. How'd you feel the next day? How about a night you got really good sleep? How'd you feel? Typically, you're sharper, your memory's better. You have more emotional resilience. I know there's been days for me where if I didn't get good sleep, maybe I was really like a little bit emotionally fragile, and didn't have the resilience to hold stressful moments as much. So during sleep, the body removes toxins, it produces essential hormones, the brain forms new pathways, solidifies and retains new information and memories, builds and restores tissue, and strengthens our neural connections. What happens like if we're not getting enough sleep? What are the risks to the physiology in the body? You name it. Any chronic illness can be worsened with poor sleep. Diabetes, cardiovascular health, heart disease, cancer, arthritis, and mentally, emotionally feeling fatigued, not quite as resilient to navigate stressful situations, brain fog, slow reflexes. So it's a big deal. Sleep is absolutely critical. What are some common sleep disorders? So this is just kind of a smattering. You have snoring, deep sleep deprivation, excessive sleeping, REM sleep disorder, night sweat, sleep paralysis, insomnia. So there's a lot of different disorders or things that cause disordered sleep. Some more awake sleep disorders, another way to look at this. Circadian rhythm sleep disorders, very important. People who do shift work often have a lot of trouble with that. Breathing-related sleep disorders, we're going to talk about that today. Sleep apnea, narcolepsy, so substance and medication-induced sleep disorders, restless leg syndrome. So let's dive today. We're going to talk about sleep apnea, and we're going to talk a little bit about melatonin. So what is sleep apnea? There's two types of sleep apnea. We have obstructive sleep apnea, which occurs when you think about it as a physical obstruction to your breathing pathway. And then central sleep apnea, we don't see as commonly, but that's deep within the brain, and it has to do with the neurology of why we sleep and why we breathe. And so, actually, I misspoke. It has to do with the central processing and central control of our breathing. And centrally, you stop breathing, okay? And so your body wakes you up. Sleep apnea can occur at any age. It increases with age. And sleep apnea is often undiagnosed. And I really want to call out how frequently it's not diagnosed in postmenopausal women. And we'll learn a little bit more about that as we move through the slides. If untreated, sleep apnea can severely affect your health. And we've talked about those things that can happen: type 2 diabetes, stroke, depression, metabolic dysfunction. Lifestyle changes can reduce sleep apnea severity. So this is why we're talking about these foundational lifestyle factors: losing weight, if you smoke, discontinuing smoking, eliminating alcohol. There's other things you can do to change your bed to help you sleep better and more solidly, so you're not getting woken up because you're not breathing. So we're going to focus, remember I said there's two types of sleep apnea, central and obstructive. We're going to talk about obstructive sleep apnea today. So what is it? If you see on the left, this is the normal airway. It's open. Air can come in. There's no constriction. You should have no problems. This is a partially closed airway. It starts to close. A little bit of air can come in, but you're not getting quite the oxygen you need to sustain health and do all the things you need while you sleep. And then you have a closed airway. This is usually somebody will have an apneic episode, which means they actually stop breathing because there's no air coming in. And then it wakes you up, right? Because your body knows you need breath to live. So it's going to jolt and wake you up. But if you think about it, if you have sleep apnea and you're waking 5 to 50 to 300 times a night, and you remember that sleep-wake cycle every 90 to 120 minutes, every time you wake up, that sleep cycle gets interrupted. And so you may not get into that deep sleep that you need if you're not able to fall into that deep sleep restorative pattern. So some symptoms of sleep apnea: snoring, excessive daytime sleepiness, headaches in the morning, fatigue, difficulty concentrating, mood changes, chest pain, and waking with a dry mouth. Symptoms here also, memory loss, some things that weren't brought up, waking or choking, gasping for air when you're sleeping, restless sleep. Okay, so let's talk now. So we talked about what is obstructive sleep apnea. What's going on with postmenopausal women and obstructive sleep apnea, and why is this often missed? So what I did is I took out some excerpts of some studies that really looked into this and show that postmenopausal women are a huge group of women that are going undiagnosed. And mainly it's because conventionally and in medical training, we're taught to look for people for sleep apnea, that risk factors that are male, aging, overweight, and thick neck. So those are kind of the things that we begin oh, this person fits that, we should screen them. Now, knowing what I know, I'm screening almost all postmenopausal women to see, at least with the questionnaires, to see if they may be a candidate that is going undiagnosed. So this is saying postmenopausal women are 2 to 3 times more likely to have sleep apnea compared with premenopausal women. I mean, that's pretty astounding. The prevalence of obstructive sleep apnea in females rises markedly after menopause. 47 to 67% of postmenopausal women have been found to have sleep apnea. And then this is a sort of a graphic that went with that study. If you look, the blue is premenopausal, the red is perimenopausal. So you can see it's beginning to change. This is the prevalence of sleep apnea. It's beginning to increase as somebody's perimenopausal, and then postmenopausally, boom, goes way up. Obstructive sleep apnea in menopause is more significant compared to pre- and perimenopausal women because in this age group, the physiology is starting to change. Hormonal fluctuations during perimenopausal, they're kind of up and down, and then postmenopausal, estrogen and progesterone decline to a very low level. And it's thought that that this decline, there's a couple things. The decline in and of itself is connected to the physiology that puts women more at risk of obstructive sleep apnea. And then if somebody's prone to that already, because perhaps body habitus and those other things we were talking about, then it actually pushes them over to obstructive sleep apnea. It's also, this is a really interesting study. Sleep apnea in postmenopausal women is associated with joint pain severity, fatigability, and they're related. So the conclusions were a detailed examination of sleep disordered breathing is warranted in women with severe joint pain and fatigability. And because this looked at postmenopausal women, I think all postmenopausal women should be screened for disordered breathing while sleeping. So this is the same study, this implies a link between the pains, the joint pains, and the estrogen depletion. And we know that many of our joint tissues have estrogen receptors. So perimenopausally, as those estrogen is decreasing, those estrogen receptors are not being filled up. They don't have estrogen, and it's causing joint pains. Detailed examination of sleep disordered breathing is warranted in women with severe joint pain and fatigability. All right, so let's transition into, so real quick before I transition, so for yourself, if you need to pause the video, think about your sleep. Think about, do you feel rested during the day? Are you waking frequently through the night? Have you been screened for sleep apnea? And if you think you are somebody that needs to be screened, have a conversation with your healthcare practitioner. And if you and I are working together, hopefully we've already talked about this, but if not, let's talk about it at your next visit. All right, so now we're going to move on to melatonin. Melatonin is a super hormone, if you want my opinion. And this is a really beautiful graphic that one of my teachers, Dr. Deanna Minnick, created, and it's just fantastic. So I wanted to share this, and then we're going to kind of break it down. But this looks at melatonin is more than just there for our sleep. There's cellular health benefits. Our metabolism needs melatonin. Brain and nerve health, skin health, heart health, gut health, bone health, and reproductive health. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal, awesome things. And then she goes into more detail here. So let's dive into melatonin. What is it? Where is it made? How do you get more of it? And how can you know how much you have personally? So the pineal gland sits deep near the hypothalamus in the brain. You can see the pineal gland here. And the pineal gland is responsible for producing melatonin. And it's turned on and off, as we'll see as we move forward in the slides, by darkness. Its primary role is controlling our sleep cycles through secreting melatonin. It modulates our sleep and waking patterns by affecting different cells within the brain. Activation of the pineal gland occurs when the eye stops receiving the signals of bright light. This is why, again and again and again, you'll hear for sleep hygiene that you need to bring those lights down early in the evening and not fall asleep with your devices. Melatonin levels are modulated by special photoreceptor cells in the human retina. So that's the back of the eyes. It then emits a signal to something called the suprachiasmatic nucleus of the hypothalamus, which is so cool. It's like our body's main clock. The hypothalamus, in turn, is part of the brain that supports the body's homeostatic functions. It begins to bring the body down to get ready for the processes that need to happen during sleep. And the light or dark signals are then sent to the pineal gland, which will begin to modulate the melatonin. So this is just a powerful system in our body. I mean, the human body really is brilliant and smart. So melatonin is one of the most ubiquitous, versatile hormones found in both animals, humans, and some plants. It's highly lipophilic, meaning it can go in between, in and through the cell membranes, the lipid layer. Melatonin plays several key functions in the body. It regulates our immune system, supports glucose regulation. It's an antioxidant, so it helps clean up all the oxidative stress that the body can go through. It's a regulator of the circadian rhythms, including the sleep-wake cycle. Melatonin has cardioprotective properties, and it's anti-inflammatory. So disruption in melatonin production causes circadian rhythm disruption, and then has been linked to several chronic illnesses, obesity, and metabolic syndrome. It has a role in innate immunity. Innate immunity is the part of our immune system that comes on board immediately. So it's the really simple part of our immune system that says, okay, there's a virus, I'm just going to send a bunch of killer cells. And then 3 to 5 days later, our adaptive immune system comes on board to handle the rest of it. But melatonin is involved in that initial innate immunity. There's a seasonal variance of melatonin, and this has been linked potentially to why people have seasonal affective disorder, or they feel depression when they're not getting as much natural lights. And according to one study, there's a negative correlation between the activity of MS and night length, most likely due to the interruption of the expression of our T cells. So there is the connection of the immune system. There's an interruption of the T cells, so the inflammation is not dampened and it continues. So circadian rhythm, let's talk about that. Y'all have probably heard of this. Circadian rhythm is your internal body clock. It's a biological mechanism that controls when we sleep and when we wake. It's based on a 24-hour rhythm, and its role in, what is its role in focus and productivity. And there's also the circadian rhythm, the sleep-wake cycle is the main one we know of. All of our major organ systems have their own clocks. And the suprachiasmatic nucleus, the main clock in the hypothalamus, is communicating with all of those other bodily clocks. So what happens when we sleep? We restore, our biological systems reset, our muscles rest, memory consolidation, and immune system restoration. Now let's talk a little bit about the master clock, that suprachiasmatic nucleus. It's a master clock. It regulates our peripheral clocks, like I just said, the clocks in our different organ systems. They communicate with each other. Sunlight through the eyes stimulates, we just talked about that with the pineal gland and that whole slide, but it stimulates, the light comes in, it stimulates the master clock and gives feedback to should this person be awake or asleep. And that begins to set that rhythm. That's why morning light, first thing, helps to set your circadian rhythm. Immediately in the morning, then that clock is already ticking for when that melatonin should come on board. And then as the light disappears, so light comes on, stimulated, and then as its light disappears, this master clock picks up this cue and prepares the body for sleep. This follows the natural rhythms of nature, and that is one way to support a good circadian rhythm. When the sun's coming down, your lights in the house are coming down. Your computer's coming down. You're beginning to prepare your body for sleep. In the morning, the sun rises. That sun's coming in. Your cortisol's coming on board. You're ready for the day. So this is just a picture of all those clocks that are going on throughout our body. So it's pretty amazing to think that we have this biological clock within us that's continually setting our clocks and our rhythm for all the systems in the body. And those clocks are talking. So what happens in modern lifestyle and the suprachiasmatic nucleus? Well, I mean, this isn't a surprise to anybody. This disruption, when we can keep lights on all night, you can shop at any time of the night. You don't have to go to sleep. This clock gets disrupted. Well, if this clock is disrupted and it's talking to all the other clocks in the body, this disruption has been shown to be linked to obesity, depression, sleep disorders, many chronic illnesses. So what are circadian rhythm disruptors? Staying up late, working long hours on screens, shift work, certain medications, caffeine or stimulants. And you can take a look. Even just not being outdoors enough can cause rhythm disruptions. So melatonin, a quick recap, it's produced in the pineal gland. It's thought of as a circadian rhythm regulator because it's part of how those wake and sleep cycles go on and off. It's an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, supports the immune system. It's sensitive to light in the morning. So melatonin, when the light comes in the morning, the melatonin is at its lowest. When that darkness comes on in the night, it's at its highest. So let's talk real briefly about cortisol because they're related. Cortisol, as you know, is our stress hormone. Just merely waking up and then adding lights and signals to the brain to kick out more cortisol. You got to get up. You got to be ready for the day. This is in the inverse of melatonin. Cortisol's at the highest in the morning, melatonin's at the lowest. And then as the day goes, they switch, and then melatonin's the highest and cortisol's the lowest. So what are some tools to support a healthy circadian rhythm? Get light first thing in the morning. Super important. Dim the lights as the evening sun goes down. Darken your room when you sleep so that, remember, when light comes into the back of your eye, the retina, it stimulates the pineal gland and it also stimulates the suprachiasmatic nucleus to begin the waking up cycle. And so we want to keep those lights dark. and no screens or TV in the bedroom. Time outside. Go outside every day. Expose yourself to natural light. Let your body remember the natural rhythms. Camping for 2 or 3 days at a time with no access to electronics can be a good way to help you begin to reset your rhythms. Quick recap on sleep hygiene. Your bedroom only for sleep and intimacy. Create that sleep sanctuary. Make it nourishing, a place you want to go so that your body begins to remember how to rest. Minimize naps. 2 hours before bed, avoid screens, activities that will stimulate you. And you want to do quieter activities like reading a book or journaling. Limit caffeine. Keep a consistent schedule. And magnesium can be really supportive for quality sleep. Consistent eating times also support our circadian rhythm. So being consistent in what you do daily can really make a difference. Eating a larger meal earlier in the day supports that rhythm. And then consistent times at eating helps keep that body in rhythm. Manage your stress. Remember, our cortisol, which is the main stress hormone, is intricately connected to our clock, genes, and biological systems. And it's intricately, it's in the reverse of melatonin. Things like mindfulness, meditation, nature, regular movement all help decrease an overactive response to stress. So imagine if you were able to improve your sleep quality by just 1% each week this year. What would that be like? This is where I want you to take one thing and simplify. Quick overview on a roadmap to better sleep hygiene. Remember the benefits and risks. Why? Knowing your why to change and shift your behaviors helps keep you on track. You set a sleep schedule and a wake schedule. Follow a nightly routine. Cultivate daily habits. Optimize your bedroom and customize these sleep routines to you. So quick tips on remove, replace, repair, and rebalance. Just a 4-pronged way to think about how can I support my sleep. Remove any excitatory foods or stimulatory drinks. Alcohol absolutely causes sleep disruption, usually around 2 or 4 a.m. Daytime napping may disrupt your circadian rhythm. Certain medications, if taken consistently every night for sleep, will eventually affect your sleep-wake balance and your rhythm. Taken periodically, you should be fine. Caffeine absolutely affects how well we sleep, and Wi-Fi in bedroom, pets in bed. Replace. What can you replace things with? So wine with maybe some warm, nourishing, calming tea. Prescription medicines can be replaced with magnesium or an Epsom salt bath. And replacing what habits are no longer supporting you. Think about your bed. Is it comfortable? Does it have the sheets and the bedding? Is it keep you too warm or too cool? And is it supporting your health? Repair. What's at the root cause? Is there a lot of inflammation going on? Do you have some dysregulated blood sugars? Oftentimes people have a low blood sugar early morning, maybe 3 a.m. And when your blood sugar drops, your body's like, heck no, you need fuel, and it kicks out cortisol and wakes you up. So one thing to do is to stabilize that blood sugar throughout the night. Gut microbiome, that definitely has a play into all of our systems. You can take a look here at the repair. Rebalance. Daily movement, meditation, sunshine, support your anxiety. Maybe you need to supplement your melatonin levels. Or 5-HTP. Remember, 5-HTP was the precursor to the melatonin. Circadian rhythm with your sleep-wake cycles, and then support your parasympathetic nervous system with breath work. So, looping back to the beginning, you can do that 4-7-8 breathing to support you and your sleep. So you can go ahead and pause the video, and I want you to write down your 3 takeaways. They don't have to be perfect. The first 3 things that come to mind, just write them down. And then write one actionable takeaway that will support you in elevating your sleep and foundational lifestyle factors. So thank you for making it all the way through this long video. I am grateful to share this education and support you on your path to elevating your health. If you have any questions, please reach out, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day.